Hi everybody, it's Sean with Envision Robotics. Thanks for tuning in to our overview of Bloxels. I'm going to cover off today, I'm going to show you a little bit more about what the Bloxels editor looks like, and I'm going to then show you also what we cover in each of the classes. If you haven't heard of Bloxels, it's been around for about 6 years now. Their focus is on the educational market. We've been using it at our studio for the last 3 years. And then virtually we've been using it for about the last year. I love the program. What I send home with the kids is I send templates, whether they're working in the studio with us or they're doing it virtually. Of course, because not everybody has a printer at home for virtual, what we tend to do is just make those optional, but plain pieces of paper are perfectly fine. And they can still follow along that way. The one thing that I love about video game design and the way that I've structured my program is that I do make it very educational. So every class starts off with a discussion, whether it's around enemies or hero characters, what goes into great video game design, and the kids can fill out their templates. So it is very educational because when they're actually crafting their game, they need to be thinking about, what's the storyline for my game, and what are all the hero characters, and what are all the enemies that I want part of my game, what do I need it to look like. So they become a designer, they become an artist, and there's so much for them to learn and put together. It is a form, in a way, of storytelling and story writing. So much to learn for the kids. So let me just zip over and show you what we cover in each of our classes. Okay, I'm back and wanted to show you what we cover in each of the classes. We do a 5 class, we do a 6 class. It really just depends on the timing throughout the year. This is showing our program for a 5 class. Class 1, it's always about the hero character and setting a theme for our game. I should say in each of the classes that we have, we do have a little bit of a lesson up front, 10 to 15 minutes, and we talk about whether it's artwork and what goes into great artwork and why is it important, or if we're talking about the enemies, like what makes for a really good enemy, right? What are some of the capabilities and that our enemies need to have? Class 2, I'll come back here. Class 2 is about the artwork, and so we create coins or other decorative elements like terrain. And so they're learning how to use the editors and how to create with pixel art in class both 1 and 2. 3 is about now taking what we've created so far and actually starting to build out our game, create a layout, adding water or other hazard features. We want to be able to add some coins or other things to be able to score points. But it's really also about building out the broader frame of their game and starting to think about, okay, what's the overall story they want to have for this. Class 4, enemies. And so what goes into great enemy design? Why are enemies important in games? And so they will also use the editor to create an enemy. And they can also use what's called the character lab to be able to give it some special features. Now you can have multiple enemies in your game, each with different capabilities, which makes the game a lot more interesting. And last, on class 5, it's about the background, making sure that our story around our game is tight. We can add some music. And so that's essentially what we cover off in our 5 class. It's a full video game design program. It covers off the core features. I'm going to show you in a minute what the editors look like. As I mentioned earlier, it doesn't use coding. It uses a block type of editor, but it serves itself well for young kids that say are as young as 5. But we also find that 13-year-olds just find as much fun and excitement and learning from using the video game design platform Bloxels as well. Okay, so I wanted to quickly show you the editor that the students use to create their characters and even artwork. They're very similar. So I'm just going to show you one that I've created already. I clicked on it to edit, and so you'll see that in the middle here is a block-based editor. We call it like a pixel editor. If I want to enhance my character, I can just click on a color, add some color the blocks in, paint the blocks in. If I want to remove them, quickly remove them like that. This editor also allows for animation. We can do that for characters, hero characters, enemies, and we can also do it for artwork. And you can see here that we've got some different images, almost like frames when we create animation, as well as we can have idle, walk, fall, and jump. So that's essentially the interface for the editor. What I like the students to do is to take what they've drawn on the paper and then take those ideas and recreate them in Bloxels editor. It just makes for a lot more interesting and fun exercise for the kids. And it's my way of going from getting their thoughts down on paper to transferring it to a digital world. Okay, so I want to show you quickly the game interface editor. So this is the editor that I would use to actually construct my game. And so I'm able to choose from different types of blocks. Each of them have different functionality. So the red here is hazards, purple is enemies, and then the green is for things like terrain or some decorative elements. And essentially what I do is I think through, what my game what I want it to look like, and essentially just paint these blocks to the grid. And then I come over here and select some assets that I've created. Again, whether it is artwork or a character, they can all be added very quickly into my game. And if I want to add things like a sword, I have a sword over there. It's a type of object that I can pick up and throw. Then what I do is I go and place a orange block in the areas that I want to have my sword, or if I want to do it for hazards, I can do that as well. Click on that and it's already selected, and I can just replace the blocks. So this is the editor. Lends itself well for creativity, kids that want to focus in on kind of the overall story of their game and not necessarily the coding aspect of it. And it's a wonderful platform even for younger kids that don't know how to code yet but want to get into game development. And as I mentioned, I find 13-year-olds that have attended our programs and have used Bloxels, they love it just as much because of all that they can create with the game design. You can create some really sophisticated games with Bloxels. So that's also why it lends itself well to older kids. So look, we hope that you've enjoyed our overview of Bloxels. We hope to see you on one of our programs. Have any questions, as always, feel free to reach out.